We are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another night of SCL action. Here we have a matchup between Orange Squadron and Aluminium Squadron. Co-casting with me tonight is Lando Catrician and my cab bomber main uh, teammate extraordinaire, Doom Height. Gentlemen, introduce yourselves, say hello. Or I guess don't introduce yourselves, just say hello since I just introduced you.
Thanks, Drain. How you doing? Good to be back. Moved to Colorado. Haven't had a whole lot of time to cash, but good to get back into it.
Yeah, that was quite an intro. Can't top that. Thanks, guys. Happy to be here.
Yes. I am sorry. With two other fine gentlemen here, I have to learn not to take up all the airspace. So, um, I was just catching up Lando there, Doom, but Aluminium has just played earlier tonight. They just played about an hour or two ago versus Savrip, and that game actually went 2-1 to Savrip, and that victory for Savrip propelled them into the playoff picture, into the top four. I'm not sure if they finished. I believe they finished number 4 behind Baywatch, or I'm not sure if Baywatch has another game remaining. I'd have to take another look at the standings. It wasn't without a little bit of controversy though. So in Game 3, I didn't watch the entire tape, but I watched all of Game 3, and the support for Aluminium, Cro Magnum, unfortunately took a disconnect right at the start of their defense. Right as Savard was pushing in on their Star Destroyer, and what that meant was that they had a couple of thirsty bombers looking for resupplies that had to go all the way back to the hangar to get resupplied, so that really slowed down their defense. Now Crow was
Wow.
able to come back and in time for the MC attack. Unfortunately, got picked right before the MC attack. You got to figure being flustered played a factor in that, right? Coming back in as fast as possibly can, um, following a disconnect. But Safford was able to eke it out after that.
Yeah, I mean, it's always tough when you are, you hit a bump in the road and you've got to, rush to get in. I mean, things like how you are managing your energy drops off, things like, your approach angle, right? Where you might have a chance to be a little bit more artful, when you're just trying to get in and do damage or get in and contribute. Yeah, you definitely, some of the technique sometimes falls on the wayside.
Yeah, I mean,
Passport, fellas. Let's hop in.
yep. Looks like lobby info is up. Both of you gentlemen have access to the match channel, correct?
Yes, sir. Logging in now.
Yep.
Okay. Looks like it's on. I shouldn't even say that part. Okay. All right, and we'll get ourselves in the lobby here. As a spectator and not a player, as eager as I am to play this game at all times. All right, folks, and we are loading into the lobby. Looks like May's window is in. May's playing for Hiveguard this season, formerly of the B team. Not sure who he's subbing in for here.
I just saw Lion come in as a spectator. Not sure. I figured he'd be playing.
Hmm, that would be news to me.
Same.
All right, folks. So, with both of these teams now out of the playoff picture, I believe this might be the final match for each of these teams. So, Doom, what would your mindset going into this game? So, knowing that not really anything on the line is happening in terms of the playoff picture, but you could still jockey for position a bit in terms of relegation. I think Orange is now sitting in the last spot in the Elite Division, so I guess with maybe 3 points, I'm not sure. Looking at the standings, I can double check that actually. But with not a whole lot, it's not a high stakes game. Let's put it that way. So what would your
Yeah.
mindset be?
I look, I'll stop you right there. It's there's always something on the line, right? I mean, look, this is a game for enthusiasts. This is an enthusiast league. These are people that are looking to prove that they are at the top level of competitive squadrons, or put another way, that they deserve to be here. And I think that, look, people always want the opportunity to showcase their skills. That's why they do it. That's why they do it on this stage in particular. So, I mean, I think you go out there, same as any other game, that, this is an opportunity to show up and show out. And, if you have something maybe that you've been waiting to try, if we have something that's some exotic approach, maybe you pull it out here, depending on how you feel about it. But I mean, ultimately, I think I wouldn't expect either of these teams to come out and just screw around. We'll see, but I think that we're in for a good game here.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more, and I think that's very well stated. A lot of these guys, are some of the best in the game, and they want to give it their all every single time they come out here. You have ladder and you have practices to goof around in, right? And this is the highest level competitive format for squadrons. So I think to your point, even though there may not be a whole lot on the line, you want to give it your best shot at all times. So I have told the teams that we are ready, and here we go. Remember, gentlemen, not to talk about loadouts. We can talk about
Yep.
it after launch, though, just not in the lobby.
Yeah, I'm gonna write the loadouts out, like anything noteworthy in the. Wait, I can't. I'm a cast channel. Just DM it to you.
All
Just see
right,
if I can
so
get.
unless someone picked the wrong map, this is a Yavin match. I thought Yavin was week 5, but I don't know. So looks like the teams are okay with it, so I'm okay with it too. So Orange Squadron has home team, therefore they get faction pick, and to no one's surprise, they have picked Empire. So they are running with Toru Taka, who's well known for his flex play, Staffy Cat, Chewbacca Bra, Sinric, and Hobbs. Over on the New Republic side, we got Dalek, Lions, Maze Window, What's Up Doc, and Cro Magnum. Now that, gentlemen, are three support mains coming out. So, Doom, you were saying not the time for memeing. It is the time to try some wacky stuff, though. And What's Up Doc is a very versatile player. He's a really great flex player, an even better support player. Maze can play bomber. He's also a crack support. Cro Magnum, I think, is the only one that really is a support main. I don't know Crow that well.
I mean, if there's anything I've learned over the folks that we've had a chance to play with, it's that to be a great support main, you really have to know the game, probably more than some of the other positions. I'll just put it that way. It wouldn't surprise me to see support mains swap into flex or bomber roles, and I think that's more likely than seeing flex or bomber roles kind of shift into support over you know over a short time period. So I don't know that that's necessarily indicative of anything too crazy. I mean, I would love to see it, but I don't know. I think that this is probably just folks with multifaceted
Skill
skills.
sets, yes. And Yavin, not the best map to experiment on, and I'm seeing a pretty comp-looking loadout flying out of hyperspace in front of the MC-75, and that team is Aluminium. So we got What's Up Doc and a Y. Oh, and we looks like we have a drop already. Ooh, unfortunate. Looks like they're all
All right.
dropping. Disconnect.
All
And
right. GG. Empire wins.
GG Empire OP, everybody. Everyone go home.
Did Chewbacca Cabra get 1 AI before it ran out? Oh, that's
Pog.
look.
Yeah.
All right. Good game,
Nope.
everybody.
Zeros
right.
across the board.
Look at that clean stat sheet, folks. No deaths, clean game by Orange Squadron. I mean, textbook stuff there. All right, let's see what happens for real.
Hey, it's Time Bomb here, and we disconnected.
Oh, okay, no problem. All right, were you doing a time bomb impression?
Yes, I was.
Oh.
So really, we
Why
can
did
take
I
a
fall for
moment
that?
here. We can take a moment here to critique the squadron loadout choices in terms of outfits. Now we've got 2 in red jumpsuits, 3 in black jumpsuits. Really, I think that shows the disunity on their team. What do you think, Rain?
I mean, exactly. So we have one person that sticks out like a sore thumb, and he certainly marches to the beat of his own drum, and that's Mr. Floophead. We like to chastise him for it. We do like the team identity. I think we even chose matching victory poses, right? Shows camaraderie, shows respect for each other. Now, a group of rugged individualists, that kind of works for the New Republic brand, right? So,
It kind of does.
yeah, to
Kinda
each their
does.
own, to each their own, but
I will say
I
the
prefer
Laser Rangers
coordination.
have the Laser Rangers in Open Division. Everyone's got a different color. I love that too, because that's also coordination.
Of a different sorts. Very good.
Yep. I mean, the whole Power Rangers theme, you know?
Yeah, I do like what we got going on, where Big Brain is running with the Navigator helmet, and we run whatever it is, what other Imperial helmet we run.
Right.
So it's like he's running the goalie mask, and the other players are wearing their standard hockey helmets.
That's right.
Oh, Ram, you still have to play. You still have to destroy me in NHL sometime.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Do you do online versus?
I mean, I
Or are
did
you a
like
chill
4 games
guy?
of it. I just I don't know, just play the game. Whatever requires the least amount of effort for me to get my team to work.
Okay.
Like all this like EA, like, you know, buy a player and then fucking build them from like Pee Wee League into, you know, being like, you know, a third string guy on, you know, the Islanders farm team. Like, nah, let's just play the game.
Lobby's back up, gentlemen. Same information
right.
as before.
Love to see
It is in fact the same lobby.
Well, that would work too.
You know, as someone once said, you don't join where the lobby will be, or shit, I fuck. You don't
You're trying to be
join-
Wayne Gretzky.
That's right. That's right. You go to where the lobby will be.
Not where it is.
I screwed it up.
Well, you know what they say. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott. All right. Well, now I am fresh out of things to talk about because I already talked about the lineups here, and it looks like we saw some pretty standard stuff out of both teams. Maze, by
right
the
now
way.
we've got a. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say we've got a mix right now of players who have readied up and not readied up. So I mean, both sides
Wow.
are at fault here.
All right, what's yeah, I mean, the red and black, it kind of works, I guess, for the Empire, but
But then you got
Yeah,
orange helmets. I mean, red and orange just simply don't go together.
oh, I wasn't even paying to the.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there aren't, but there aren't squadron. Not like there aren't squadron.
No. But like, you have Hobbs here with the orange helmet, but no one else has. Okay, Chewbacca Bra. I struggle with this name, folks. Also has the orange helmet, so they match. But then you got Cindric with the GA gold. You got Staffy Cat with the red, and Turataka with the black. So that's all over the place. That doesn't work.
And Cindric is actually struggling on my screen right now, so you know, there you go.
It shows what
I
he
would
thinks.
I would bet it's Chewbacabra.
Chewbacabra. I like Chewbacca
Green
Bra
thing,
better.
do it.
Chewbacca Bra.
Yep, the emote game is strong. But now we're loading in.
All right, it's rock and roll. Aluminium.
Yeah, you know, I worked hard on pronouncing aluminium right, so I feel like I should get a pass for not pronouncing Chewbacca Bra's name correctly. Plus, it's more fun. Chewbacca Bra.
Chewbacca bra.
Chewbacca Bra. Sounds like a vocal warm-up. All right, flying out of the MC-75, or I mean out of hyperspace, in front of the MC-75. That's more lore accurate. All right. We got Lions, Cro-Magnum, Maze Windu, Dalek, and What's Up Doc flying in front of the Imperial Star Destroyer, Turataka, Staffy Cat, Chewbacca, Cindric, and Hobbs. I'm going to follow the perspective of Cindric and see who his PK target is. Looks like he's got Maze Window in his sights. And did he go into the clouds? Yeah, he just lost that target log. Was that a squadron mask I just saw go out? No, that must have been the clouds. Does anyone spot a squadron mask in effect? Okay, no. I'm just going nuts, folks.
That was the fog.
The best kind.
flip, though.
built-in squadron mask in Yavin. And yeah, Orange taking this flip, but morale bar meter already at half, gentlemen. Shields are not even down. Looks like some packs must have came in right in after that flip. Now, Orange not running Ion Torpedo means this is going to be a little bit of a slow shield burn. Delta shield still very much up, just now coming down. Anything you guys saw out of that flip, gentlemen?
Yeah, it was instantaneous AI form, almost. You had the flip go, and then all of a sudden the morale bar right back in half. So these guys were about a second apart from one another. It just happened to be 2 packs for one team. And there it is, flip on defense.
Yep, and there's the call to fall back. I'm going to follow the perspective of Dalek here, who's packing an ion missile and proton torp, and he is already in great position on top of the Charlie Cruiser, pumping in his ion missile and trying to get in that damage. Let's see if Orange can recover, though, with some fast farm of their own. Dalek opting to pump in the proton torpedo just to get the shields down that much faster. Shields are now down. Going to switch to one of the Y-Wing pilots here. Looks like Doc is fresh out of Gola missiles, but he is doing some tight orbits around the Architon cruiser to get the most out of that standard laser cannon he has. A multi-lock missile probably about to go off here in a couple of seconds to help strip those turrets and get damage in on the hull on the top of the Architon. Looks like May's window going down at some point. Did you see who got that pick, Lando?
I missed it. I was looking at the AI stats. Looks like we are dead even with 25-13.
Crow Magnum a little low, actually very low on hull here, down to 10 on the hull. Resupply out, he's fresh out of resupplies. I'm betting he's making his exit right now. Lions in the X-Wing, as he just was against Savrip an hour ago, typically known for his strong bomber play. But no slouch. Talk about a jack of all trades. Lions can fly just about any ship in the game. This cruiser is now out of phasable. It's down to 2 on the hull. That's definitely going to be cashed in here by Aluminium. Lando, any other observations?
Yeah, I just saw Lions going to work on that cruiser. Gets the out of phase completed there. AI farm a little bit slower there on the Imperial defense, but 30 AI for both teams at this point. Very even, and we're ready at half morale.
Fenrir got a little bit of pressure on one of the Y-Wings for the New Republic, but now turning his attention to the Nebulon cruiser. Not quite at the out of phase rate, and they better hurry here because they're just a Raiders flip or an AI pack away from flipping. Nebulon now down to 13. It's a little bit of a long out of phase 10. Looks like they're going to opt to burn it here, probably with little problem, but you know, given that that took him 2 attacks to get that out of phaseable, so you got to say the advantage is in Aluminium's favor.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you also had 3 guys from Aluminium all working on that Raider, so that flip was much, much faster. Time on offense for Aluminium's been, they definitely have the advantage here.
Let's watch Crow Magnum work here a little bit. Looks like he got his marks off. He has 2 resupplies left. Looks like he is trying to pocket Maze there. Looks like he is doing a great job, by the way, of scanning through all his teammates, seeing who needs help. Looks like he's got Lions lined up in case he needs the resupplies on his torps, which he likely will soon. Maze window. Taking some PK pressure, it looks like. Or it could be just an AI tie. Looks like he's giving himself a little breathing to recharge his shields. There's the call to fall back, but this cruiser is probably out of phaseable. It's down to 15. If they really want, they can push that. This shouldn't be with too much trouble. Lando, do you see them working on the out of phase?
You do, but also worth pointing out here is that Crow had to fall back and was not able to get the resupply off in time, so we are out of resupplies for Aluminium right now.
It's a pretty even game here. Yeah, pretty even game here, Lando. So if Orange is fast enough, they could make a push here on the MC-75, but with the way that morale bar is disappearing from them, it's looking like they're going to have to set up for a defense. Charlie shields now down, beacons have been applied. Watching Staffy Cat here do some beautiful orbits along the top spine of the Nebulon, getting the most out of that bird cannon. Let's switch to the perspective of Hobbs. Make sure you guys have some ginger and some anti-nausea pills, folks, because this will be a ride in the spin cycle. Or not, as he just lazily drifts back to his own line, but okay.
Yeah,
right.
yeah, I'm just falling back and he's resupplies.
Sinric doing some nice orbits with the microthrust engine in the TIE Defender, and they have an interesting choice here. I think the Raider is still up. Yeah, the Raider is still up, so if they push in, it's going to be an awfully short offense on the MC-75, but
they're leaving the Raider to let it blow up the cruiser. They want
yeah, so it looks like they're going to be forced to push in here. But going in and grabbing a gen, yeah, half morale attack on the MC, but it'll probably drop down to about a 20% morale attack. Not so
Raider
bad.
gone immediately.
Yep, there it goes. Okay, so let's see how fast they can do this. Cindric moving in, trying to do what he can with those standard lasers. But shield generator very much operational and not much able to get done. And now it's Aluminium's turn on Orange Squadron's flagship. Here comes Crow Magnum coming in. Beacons are about to hit. The Star Destroyer is beaconed. Watching Dalek here. The left shield gen has been dunked. Waiting on the right shield gen. Looks like they're opting to destroy it. What's up, Doc? Looks like he's... Oh, I switched to Toritaka, but that's okay. We'll watch Toritaka for a bit. Looks like he has Lions in the sights trying to keep him boxed out. And Star Destroyer shields are still up, and that could be because of Lions being boxed out there. Shields just now coming down. They still have some time here. Farm is not coming in too quick. Lando, what are you seeing out of this defense that I'm not?
Not too much. I feel like you've kind of controlled it. There's really good execution on the offensive phase. Obviously, a delay on the shield generator, but it looks like the delay on the farm. I think basically broke even.
Right, power system has been popped.
Less than half.
Yep, power system popped.
Go down while I was talking.
Yep,
That's 4 weak points.
Yep. So Raider is now being called to burn, but I think they still... Okay, now Raider will cause the flip, but this is going to be in the out-of-phase window for Aluminium rather safely. Trying to get... Yeah,
yep.
The Star Destroyer is down to 11%, and you got to think this is an easy cash-in for Aluminium.
They do have 3 proton torpedoes left. Looks like Lions gets out of some danger there. ISD at 9. 7.
Yep, what's up, Doc? Looks like low on the shields. Just trying to do his best to stay alive. Oh, but he's... Well, looks like he's packing... Is that a piercing torp? That is a piercing torp.
Let's go. And he got all of them off.
That is pretty hot.
Wow. He was doing some dolphin dives that were, you know, reverse drifting out to 500, and he got at least 4 volleys of double torps off. It was quite a thing to see.
And down goes the Imperial Star Destroyer. Game 1 goes to Aluminium. A very strong NR play here on Yavin.
Even though they only have 2 Aluminium skins on their ships.
Could have to do with the fact that you have What's Up Doc, who's new to the team, formerly of Baywatch fame, and Maze Window, who currently plays for Hiveguard, but is also apparently a mercenary. So leading the way for Aluminium is What's Up Doc. Look at this. Am I reading this right? No kills for the New Republic side. 57k, 97k damage for Lions there. And these people disappeared off the scoreboard. I can't really read it. Okay, 87k for Dalek, and Maze Window contributing another 24k. Doom, what did you see during that game?
Yeah, so I mean, starting at the opener, both bombers on the New Republic side used clouds very effectively, to the point that you were questioning whether we were seeing a mask. No, just very good use of the clouds on Yavin. I spent a good amount of time watching the New Republic bombers that game, and the timing of AI was fantastic. Maze specifically, I saw getting multiple AI kills within, 10 seconds of the flip. Every single flip, he was on point, and I think both New Republic farmers did a great job of putting themselves in position to make those short flips. And on the other side, I think probably one of the biggest deciding points was going in on that MC-75, and we saw a pretty heavy bomber commitment on the Empire side to try and take a gen and just not being able to get it done. So that's the and then of course the double torps at the end doing a ton of damage. So I mean, that's the bomber report of what I saw during this New Republic victory.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, because I was tracking one of the Defender pilots and did not see the positioning of the bombers. And I did notice that on that defense, that subsequent defense by Orange Squadron, that farm seemed to come in a little bit slow. And that probably has a lot to do with what you just said, the fact that they try to bite hard to get a shield gen and then found themselves out of position, most likely.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough there's an extended timer here in Elite or in the SCL, as we know, and that you know makes those calls all the more impactful, right? I saw for a moment there, not the bombers holding fire on the frigates a little bit, and then once they assessed what the situation was, saying, "Oh well, it's gonna take it. We have to go in." So I mean, they had a defender and both bombers in, and I think the defender and one of the bombers were, wiped pretty shortly after making their run, and then the other one was out of position.
Yeah, and I struggle with those calls, and you guys turn to me like, "What's the call, Rain?" I'm like, because like if you make the retreat a little bit too early, you're like, well, you wasted an opportunity to make your subsequent flagship offense a lot easier if you just take a gen real quick. But if you overbite, oh, we know that can really cost you a game. I'm thinking back to actually our Aluminium match where I made a call to push in on the ISD, and I think doing so cost us the game because they just had open season on our MC and we were not in position to defend.
Mm,
Tough call to make. I think at the time they were trying to decide they had about a third morale. Um, but it's
right.
easy to criticize in retrospect because of how it went down. If they were able to get in and get a quick gen, you would say, oh, hey, that was a pretty good call. But it just didn't work out for them that time. But tough
I mean,
situation for a squad leader to make, I gotta say,
and they one phased that ISD, which is not, it's not unheard of, but it's rarer, right?
especially on
And
Yavin.
they might have thought that, if we can it's worth it to take the hit to make us to ensure that we can one phase the MC-75, or get it on the second phase, I should say.
Looks like the
So I
lobby
mean, it
is.
really just the NR doing more damage than they probably, probably expected. That might have played into it as well.
Yeah, I thought that, they were a little bit slow in bringing down the shield gens, but ended up working out for them anyway. It looks like Turataka was busy keeping one of the X-Wings boxed out, and that pressure almost paid off for them. But again, if their bombers were in better position, they might have been able to pull that out. But all right, let's pop into the game here, gentlemen.
Yep, same password.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to point out one thing I also saw, and I didn't spend a lot of time watching some of the defenders, but Sinric was pretty hurt. I think I saw him at 22, 25, something around there, and taking the time instead of retreating, taking the extra time to get in range and shoot down a resupply just hanging around the frigates before retreating. Just a real real quality move there. I think it was showing just how important those resupplies are, and making that extra effort even while low health to really deny the other team that lifeline.
Yeah, it's something, it's one of the reasons why I watch back my own VOD, right? To see if I like miss opportunities like that. Was there a torpedo I could have shot down that I could have that flew right in front of me? Was there a resupply I could have shot down that was right in front of me? You shoot down a resupply, that could lead to a subsequent death, or it could mean a lot less damage coming in on your ships. So, not a bad play at all. All right, so are we seeing any lineup changes? I don't think so. Looks like same lineup for Aluminium. And then switching over to the MC-75. Looks like Darkblade is in, and I forget whose place he took. But Darkblade was not in game one. I apologize, Ward Squadron. I'm losing track of your players.
Uniform review ran. My game is taking its time to load. I can't see it yet.
Looks like there is a bit of controversy here in the chat. Um, Calling into question some of the substitutions here. Now, I know that What's Up Doc is not a substitution. He is a roster addition because he had not played for Baywatch all season. Maze, I believe, is a merc. Um, Now I know, them being EU based, them being Aluminium, it must be pretty late over there. It must be like 1 a.m., 1:30 a.m. if I do my math right. So pretty feasible that they may not have players available like they did against a Savrip match earlier in the night. But I will leave that to SCL staff to sort out. I am just here to call the game.
Sounds good to me, Rain. Let's rock and roll. Game 2.
Not that I'm known for engaging in controversial discussions or anything.
I mean, you like concussion missiles, Rain?
I do. I don't find that to be controversial, though.
I mean, it is pretty controversial to some people. Concussion missiles? What? I'm a double concussion missile guy, but folks are gonna yell at me talking about it on the stream.
I mean, yeah. I mean, hey. This isn't an official SCL broadcast, and we do not endorse double concussion missile.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm basically an elder seal with a personality. It's all good. I get it.
Fair enough. All right. Jumping out of hyperspace in front of the MC-75 is Orange Squadron, led by Chewbacca, Hobbs, Darkblade, Sinric Sinister, and Torutaka flying out of the Imperial Star Destroyer. We got Maze, Window, Crow, Magnum, What's Up Doc, Dalek, and Lions. I'm going to follow the perspective of Lions here. Since I followed the flexes all last game, looks like he is lining up a pack of X-Wings in V formation here, and I believe he sent off a Gullo because they just disappeared right in front of him, and there goes the flip very, very quickly there in a dominant fashion for Aluminium, and it looks like they have the Delta cruisers targeted, and in we go. What'd you see off of that dogfight?
One thing I was paying attention to is we have the Ion 4 Plasburst combo from Sinric Sinister. Love to see it. Bit of an off-meta pick, but in the hands of the right pilot, it kicks some ass.
Absolutely. That is very, very strong, especially if you know how to work that Plasburst. I am personally trash at Plasburst, and I really admire those that can make it work. Delta shields have been brought down, and they are now chewing it down into the hull at about the 70% mark. What's Up Dog doing some nice orbits there in the Defender. Crow Magnum popping off a resupply, obviously able to get in his marks. Crow Magnum very, very evasive, and formerly of Tangerine Squadron, who unfortunately did not fly this season, but good to see some of their folks, some of their very talented pilots out there flying. Delta looks to be pretty safely in the out-of-phase territory at 10%, now dropping to single digits, and ooh, you can hear the Plasburst spurring up right behind Maze. He better be careful. Let's switch to Sinric. Firing off a Plasburst into space. And looks like he is trying to position himself ahead of the flip. Oh, he's got to be careful. He doesn't get popped by the laser. It looks like he's popping off his Ion Torp and Ion Missile. He took a big cut from that, but his Ion Torp did land. Shields are down to about 25% and dropping. Looks like Hobbs's Ion lasers are going to work. And Shields are done pretty good positioning by Sinric. Maybe a little bit aggressive because he took some damage, Lando.
Dalek about to get the out of phase here. I love that little mind game at the end of that defense. The Y-Wings actually actively stopped farming when they saw their cruiser was so low. Figured, if it blows up in phase, it's better than it blows up out of phase. Heads up play. Didn't work out for him, but good thing.
Pretty good damage coming in here from Orange Squadron. Darkblade keeping Dalek in the sights to make sure he doesn't get popped by that very talented Defender pilot. Switch back to Sinric in his Plasburst orbits, applying really, really good damage. Now, if you look at the stat sheets and you look at who leads in NR damage, Sinric is usually right up there, and those Plasburst users always right there. Now, Orange going toe-to-toe, and actually having better damage output as NR. Oh no, did they mean to drop that? I don't know if they meant to do that, Lando.
I don't think they did, but Sinric already has 43,000 cap damage in one phase, so I just figured that was worth pointing out.
Their NR damage was too good because it cost them an out-of-phaseable cruiser. But funny enough, better damage output for them as NR in that first phase than they had as Empire. Of course, a lot of that had to do with the shortened morale bar, but all right, Sinric now has Crow Magnum, the Empire support, in their sights. Crow Magnum is dunked. He's likely going down here. And there he goes. Nice pick, but I'm not sure if the beacons got applied. Were you able to see that, Lando?
I did not see the
yes,
beacon go
Lando.
off.
Yeah, I'm just seeing it now. The Nebula is marked.
They did get the beacons, yeah.
What's Up Doc is dry on ordnance, though. Just took a bonk, so now he's got to be a little bit careful. Fortunately, Yavin doesn't have a lot of geometry for you to bump into. Let's take a look at these bombers. Lion's sitting pretty at almost 100% health, so he's okay. Maze, though, may not be able to push into the MC-75. He is down to about 50% of the haul. I'm not sure if Orange has been able to identify that to capitalize, but it looks like an AI X-Wing has, though, right on the back of Maze. The bane of every unshielded ship is the AI going rogue, and that AI has erased Maze's health from 54 down to 30%. Unfortunate. Half morale attack coming in here for Aluminium. Crow Magnum making his way to the MC-75. He's got some heat on him, but it looks like he was able to apply his beacons. He is dunked, but he manages to live. Using the clouds very, very nicely there for cover. The built-in squadron mask, as I now call it, as of 15 minutes ago, coming into really good effect. Looks like one shield gen going down. Yeah, go ahead, Lando. What did you see there?
I was about to say the exact same thing. One shield gen down. AI farm definitely in favor of Darth Blade and Chupacabra here with a solid 9 AI advantage right now.
Right. Although having higher AI farm not necessarily a good thing. It often means a sign that you've played more defenses than the other team. But let's see if Orange can push in and get the ISD out of phasable and force a base race situation. You got to say that's your best hope for them. But it is a tall task with the farming talent over there on Aluminium and the farm being as good as it is on Yavin. That said, this Cruiser Charlie is falling rapidly down to a third health on the hull. Wow, I'm just getting dizzy watching Cynric, but doing really, really great work there. And oh, speaking of unorthodox and controversial, Turataka running a very Chad concussion missile loadout and dry on his conch missiles, but taking a bonk. Oh, Caster's jinx. Ouch. I should stop talking him up before he dies. I'm gonna actually go switch to Dalek here and watch him pressure Turataka and keep him boxed out. Turataka is definitely gonna need a resupply in order to be bailed out. Cynric going down. I missed that. Turataka taking the dunk, and unfortunately, I don't think his concussion missiles can save him from that, Lando.
I mean, he's got 7 hull left. At this point, he just needs to get a shield gen ice, but looks like not even going to have a chance to attack the Star Destroyer. Dalek caught on Turataka's tail.
Yep, and with one shield gen down on this MC-75, you got to think this game is heavily in Aluminium's favor unless Orange Squadron can pull off a miracle defense. What's up, Doc? Making his approach to the shield gen. Beacons have been applied. This shield gen is disabled, and the hull is now wide open for the Empire. What are you seeing, Lando?
That Plasburst continuing to do almost half the NR damage, 70,000 damage on behalf of Cynric, but yeah, maybe 2 Plasbursts next time, but we'll see what happens. There's not a lot of time left here. It looks like Aluminium's going to take this one here.
Yep, that MC-75 is not long for this world. Switching over to Dalek, he has identified a weak point on the top. Who can get it first? Not sure who got it, but it doesn't matter. It was a pair of green lasers. MC-75 is down to single digits, down to 5% on the hull, and it's dropped. It is down. Down goes the MC-75. Game 2, and 3 points goes to Aluminium Squadron.
That was a fantastic game. I was, again, spending some time watching the Bombers. And I think we saw a lot of the same stuff between game 1 and game 2, and obviously the same result here.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the scoreboard.
Great damage from Lions, putting in 92.5k capship damage in that TIE bomber, as he is well known to do. Maze contributing another 62k. What's up, Doc, with 55k. Dalek with 68k. Great damage spread. 68k is a lot of damage for a standard laser defender. Over on the New Republic side, as Lando highlighted, Cynric doing a lot of work, putting up 79k capship. Turataka with his Chad Conch missile loadout, getting about half of that damage with about 41k capship damage. Let's see if we can get the teams in here for interviews. But Doom, any other observations or thoughts?
Sure, yeah. Bomber report. I think we saw right off the hop that one of the things I noticed is Darkblade was feeling the pressure immediately. When he was coming in, he was not tracking AI. He was tracking Dalek in a defender, right? He was trying to make sure that he was safe. And, by the time he was clear, that the phase had already flipped. I think that was a really good job pressuring him. I saw talk about Chad moves. I saw Chupacabra. I'm gonna go with
I
Chupacabra
believe that's
with
correct.
the Dumbfire Goliath into the MC-75 shields. I believe he took Doc completely off the board. I mean, as a bomber main, I love to see that. If you're able to get that Dumbfire Golo and get a kill with it, oh man, chef's kiss. That was a fantastic fantastic sequence on the first MC defense.
It makes you feel really bad as the flex pilot just being erased and you're just kind of dumbfounded for a few moments and like, oh, I just got goloed.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I think there were a couple of things that you don't like to see as a bomber main, right? We saw Darkblade for at least a little while was had a beautiful 5-pack, which granted on Yavin are not the hardest things to find, but he was sitting there with literally no ordnance, no chaff, no golos, no multi-locks, just waiting, and I'm sure he was calling for resupply. Eventually he got it and was able to do it, but you hate to see that moment go to waste. If you've got a 5-pack lined up, you want to be able to close it. And finally, I think that we saw a lot of the same kind of hard commit, right? We saw a hard commit to the MC or to the ISD attack. It left I think Chupacabra dead and Darkblade out of position for the defense. Again, maybe they thought that they, had to do something to change the tide, but obviously it didn't work out for them here.
Right, positioning very key on a map like this. And it looks like we got several members of Aluminium Squadron in here. We got Dalek, Lions, and Cro-Magnon. Welcome, gentlemen. And congratulations
Hello
on the
there,
victory. Good.
Thanks. Thanks.
All right, gentlemen.
It's been an interesting day, lots of ups and downs.
Right. So I was just saying ahead of the GameCast, I watched that game 3 versus Savage, and I saw Cro-Magnon disconnect very unfortunately, and I saw that forced you to have to go back to the ISD for a resupply. Very unfortunate. So unfortunate break there in that game. So how did that affect this matchup, if at all?
Well, we knew that we would be pretty much, unless I'm wrong. Nathan, you got a better handle on the positionings, right? We're basically out of playoffs now. Is that right?
So if we say, like, I'm not saying the disconnect would have caused us to win that game against Savrit, because who knows, but if we'd have won that one and then we got this 2-0, we would be in a playoff position, which, like, is a bit lame, but, like, you just got to deal with it sometimes. So I think we ended up, because we lost the tiebreaker with Storm Chasers, because we'd have overtaken Savrit and Storm Chasers with these points. Because we got 4 today, that brings us up to 10, which is level with Storm Chasers, and Savrit go up to 12, so Savrit now 4. Savrit should be 4, then Storm Chasers will be 5th, so they've got the no play, like, chill day, and we're 6th, so we've got to defend our spot, but I'm pretty sure we can do it.
So yeah, I mean, going into that game there, it was a super bummer with the Savrit game. Savrit played really great, by the way. So there's no guarantee that we would have won game 3, but I think we had a pretty good shot. It's just been a bit of a stressful few well, it's been about a week or two really, because we've not really had a proper lineup. So like I had to fly flex in that earlier game, and I'm not a flex. Like I can fly an X-wing, but that's a different thing. Having the sense of timing and when you're going to get shot and stuff. Anyway, so going into this one, it was a bit of a mix of like we thought we were going to lose game 1, and then because if you play Aussies and they get the server, it's just like, I mean, you've probably seen me moaning about it in SCL, but it basically breaks the game. You can't farm. The hit reg and the AI breaks, and if you're on Yavin, like, good luck. Like, you can't farm on Yavin, you lose. I think what happened is, I've got a few theories about why the lag. We didn't get bad lag in that game. I got a few theories. I think it's probably because I think it's tied to the spectators. Because you guys are in the States, I think it does something to the host, because I wasn't getting hit registers in the first game at all. So we went into this one thinking we're probably going to lose, just do our best. We did everything we could to try and make the playing field as level as possible. Got like some new players coming in and stuff. So yeah, it was just play the best we can and see what happens. So
Yeah, I will say those hit registration issues can be very frustrating. There was a couple of days where I played on my 5G hotspot because my internet went down, and I actually had to get my service provider to come out and do some repairs on the outside. And the teleporting and the lack of hit reg is very, very frustrating. So yeah, I mean, very, very tightly bunched here in the standings, and yeah, I think you guys are right in that Savrip is now in playoff position. Storm Chasers, I think, are fifth. And yeah, I'll just say from my perspective, watching that game 3, I thought you guys were in control. Um, and if I'm Crow Magnum, I mean, I don't want to speak for you, Crow, but like, I've been the victim of a disconnect, and you're trying to frankly come back in. You gotta, I'd have to say, I'd be pretty frazzled in that situation. Just trying to get back in. It's hard to kind of get back into the flow of things and keep your cool. But was that a factor for you?
Yeah, there was a series of events after that, because not only the disconnect, then afterwards there was a thing Lauren run into me as well, instantly killed me just soon after that. So I thought, well, this is fucking going perfect. So it's just not going great. I was stressing out a bit, and it did affect a bit the let's say the psyche of confronting the match from there onwards. And not only that, I think in Nadiri, as a support, you see suddenly everybody, you see the bombers all lined up, and you just see like pluses all over the screen. So you do feel like a rush to try and get there and trying to get them repaired as soon as possible. So it's actually quite a stressful scene of just suddenly seeing all the bombers circulating around the MC-75 and just see the pluses of because they're under 40 hull. And yeah, it does affect you, and I think it did push us to probably not being helpful on losing that match. But again, like the guys said, we never knew what could have happened. They could have turned it around, could have done any other thing, and Savrit still played well, so
He did.
Yeah, that's the whole
The unfortunate
game
thing
of
with
the season.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, like Alu, like effect, like we've all played like pubs together and such, but we've never like been in a proper team together. Like there's a little bit of World Cup stuff, but like we're a relatively new team, so I think like we made a point this season. We beat some teams.
This is my first.
This is our place to be.
Yeah, the Savrit match was my first match of the whole season. I haven't been able to play.
Oh yeah, Crow came back yesterday. Yeah, Crow came back his first day playing the game was yesterday, after weeks of not seeing him because of moving house. So like Crow's cracked. Facts.
Oh, so that's right. Hasn't it been Alex playing support for you guys?
Yeah, but he's in America at the minute, like in the States on holiday.
Okay, yeah, I don't know if I really. I'm sorry, Crow. I guess I didn't pick up on that. But it actually kind of relates to my next question. This is obviously your debut in SCL as a team. Obviously, you guys are veterans of the Star Wars competitive scene, but how do you feel the season went overall for you, and how do you think you've gelled as a team?
I mean, it was a weird one going into it because basically the original lineup we had in mind for it didn't end up playing. So kind of between last season and this season, Knight and I both basically were kind of done with squadrons. So Knight, who was originally going to be on the team, kind of half retired, I guess you call it, and kind of said, well, I might come back for some games as a sub. And I basically said the same thing at the time. So there was this kind of big shake-up there, and Crow was also not going to be around. And then Chile, as chance happened, was also not around for I think the first 3 quarters of the season. I don't think he's played any games this season. So what ended up happening is we had a lot of players who we knew fairly well, but we thought would be a really good fit for the team to kind of play with us and kind of develop the roster that way, who were outside that core group, and they ended up having to step up and fill those shoes, and that would be mainly like Filarius and Leaf and like kind of Alex. Alex is really good, but he hadn't played like a lot for a while, and they all had to step up and kind of gel together and learn kind of like how kind of elite teams do things, because I know Crow had been on Tangerine, but they kind of were only in for a very short time. So they had a lot to learn, really, in a really short space of time, and they did an amazing job. So I was just super, super happy with them and proud of them. And I ended up kind of staying in just because I thought it would be I kind of owed it to everyone because I started the team up, and I thought it would be a bit rotten to start a team and then just immediately leave as soon as the season started. So it's kind of a rocky season, but I think everyone did a really great job, and I like everyone on the team. Everyone gelled together really well, and so it was a nice environment. So yeah, don't know how the other guys feel. If they liked it.
I mean, it must
I
be
don't get
nice to
asked
have
to
more
stop
consistent
PKing
practice
now.
schedules.
Yeah, practice.
Okay. Sorry, Dale, what you were saying?
We didn't get much practice. No, like the team gelled really well. Like we both had even though we've all played teams against different teams against each other, we all have slightly different views of how the game will look, and they match each other quite well. Obviously, more PK heavy, other players are more OBJ heavy, and it just works how we do it, how we got it towards in the end. So next season will be even better.
Yeah, you guys are almost the opposite of Savrip, and then Savrip ran virtually the same lineup, identical 5 squad every single game. I think today they ran with Birdbrain, and usually it's Thanatos there, but it had been Thanatos for the other 6 matches. I guess you guys, yeah, with all that lineup variability, and I did note it, yeah, lines that you're in the flex role, and while playing that in ladder is one thing, going off role in a competitive game is something else. So credit to you for pulling that off. But yeah, I would imagine that that having all that lineup changes would make it kind of hard to gel. But nonetheless, you guys put yourselves right in the mix, and we were just talking about the disconnect that could have or could have not made a difference in terms of putting you guys in a playoff spot as the first time team in this division. So from my eyes, nothing to be ashamed of, and in fact, a lot to be proud of.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thanks. Thank you.
Doom or Lando, any last questions?
I mean, I'll just say you can't overstate the benefit you get from flying with folks consistently, and that's something that, hey, I know stuff may change between this season and the next, but I mean that's obviously something that you can build on and take into next season if you guys choose.
Yeah, I think everyone on Aluminium is they're all well capable of playing in Elite. I think they kind of proved that this season. I think if we finish 5th or 6th, I think that's for a first-time team with players who didn't necessarily expect to be playing pretty much every game. Like Valerius kind of joined saying, "Yeah, I'll play the occasional game." Same with Leaf. So for them to do every single one, well, pretty much every single one, and put loads of time in, they really deserve. And it's a bit of a meme in Squadrons to say we deserve to be here, but I think everyone in Aluminium did such a great job, and they deserve that place. I don't think finishing mid-table as a first season is anything to shake a stick at.
No, absolutely not. And I mean the league is better for it, right? This is exactly, if you guys came in and if you took first, I think people would, that would definitely raise some eyebrows. And if you don't want people coming in and getting if people come into Elite and get completely smacked down, then that's kind of a problem also. So I mean, I think you guys will come back next year stronger, and like I said, I think the league will be stronger for it too.
Yeah, and thanks for casting, by the way.
Yes.
GG's to you guys. Have a good night. I know it's late for you. Take care.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
Cheers. Bye.
All right, let me ping Time Bomb. Let me know we're ready. Looks like Time Bomb is waiting in the wings in interview 2. There he is. Hey, Time Bomb.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey.
He said the thing.
So, Time Bomb, I was hoping to see you play today, but I'm guessing, we talked about this earlier, that you being on a separate continent from the rest of the team kind of makes it hard for you to play your natural role, right? And I think that
yeah, Empire side I don't play. NR I will play because then it can be helpful if we're playing on an NA host or an EU server. Then I'll have a bit better hit reg in the Y wing than some of the other players. I'll be honest, I'm a little annoyed by the rules with the rostering, and I just think it's dumb the way that it always works out at the end. That I don't know, that teams seem to get an advantage when they are shorthanded almost. Like it's like the replacement is always equal, and I don't think no rules were broken, but the spirit of the rules is definitely not being followed here. It's like from what I'm seeing, because the roster locks at week 6, right? The end of week 6 rosters lock.
I think that's right, though.
Okay, so rosters end at week 6. So because this is a week 6 game happening at week 7, 2 days ago they were able to add a player to their roster, even though it's past the roster lock, to use against us in this week 6 game that happened today, which versus Savrip, they would not have been able to use the week 7 player. Like, it's just ridiculous that they could use him in this game, but not that one. Or, I mean, if I was Savrip, I'd be like, what? They can't add a player in 2 days before you use him like this. And I understand it's to play the game. And honestly, I don't really care if we win or lose. Like, we were having a bad season anyway, but I just hate this bullshit. Honestly, like, I want to play the teams. I don't want the best players spread across other teams. I want to play teams. I want a group of 5 people from a roster of 10 people. And if you can't make a group of 5 people from a roster of 10 people, then yeah, you should forfeit. And no, you shouldn't have a team. And I think that makes way more sense than this kind of stuff where Doc was rostered on Baywatch, even though he doesn't play a game. That doesn't matter. You're rostered. You're on that team. You get 1 transfer per season. He was released and then added 2 days ago. That's not in the spirit of the rules. I don't think that's what people are building this league towards. And if anything, speaks to people. If anything, I think it has to do with Aluminium being afraid to lose a game against their friends, where they have to bring in other elite level players. And also, all season long, they've just been annoying about this game. So whatever to them. Good games to them. I hope they had a great season. We had a really fun season, even though we didn't have a good results, because it's just fun to play with your friends, right? Like, Orange Squadron is a group who plays this game in the Australian hours from, I don't even know what to say, 4 a.m. Eastern to like 7 or 8 a.m. Eastern. In that range, we'll probably play a couple games. You know, if we have 5 to 10 people, we'll get going. And I don't know, we're lucky to get to be able to play in the SCL League. So we're going to keep it going in Challenger, and hopefully we'll make it back to Elite. But we have fun playing the game, and I think that's the most important part. And I think Nathan and Aluminium should think about the fun that they may have used to had in this game, because I think they lost some of that. And that's my thoughts. So thank you guys for casting. You guys did an amazing job, and I'll catch you guys later.
Notes, opportunity for questions for Time Bomb. Well, that was a post-game interview, I suppose.
I suppose so.
I will say, having taken a look at the substitution rules, because maybe not as much as issue of Time Bomb, I did take some issue with some substitutions in earlier seasons. But I'm thinking back 2 or 3 seasons or something like that. But when you look at it, it's difficult to enforce, and it's pretty fuzzy, right? Like, there's some fine players available in Challenger. And, you know, why shouldn't they, if you're short, be able to come in? It's not so clear cut, I think, and that's a tough problem for SCL staff to have to solve. And to their credit, I think they try to look at the feedback from players each and every season and make adjustments accordingly based on what the community wants. I don't know if you gentlemen have any thoughts on that.
I mean, I'm not a student of the rules, but if it's not clear cut, I think that's something that definitely SCL should look at, right? Even if we don't, realistically, I'll just say we're not going to have enforcement unless we have somebody, you know, from SCL staff on every cast able to say, stop the game, right? And I don't think that's realistic to ask. And so what we have to do is just make sure that we have kind of a community, you know, defined, and a community input into these rules that everyone agrees on. And I think we're, like you say, they do a pretty good job of that, and everybody playing to the spirit of the rules. If it is, you know, like you said, a little bit fuzzy, I think that's a problem. I think that's something that can be fixed. But, you know, ultimately at the end of the day, right, this is a game that has a great community, a great following, but it's not that big, right? I think that we all need to kind of, you know, set that community standard and play up to it, and that's the way we're going to keep the squadrons community going.
Listen, I think the sub rules work as long as Knight is not subbing for Baywatch. As long as Knight is not subbing for Baywatch and I'm not playing in that game, that's when I think the rules are working. Now, what I meant by fuzzy, by the way, Doom, is that it's fuzzy as to how hard you draw that line and how strict you make it, because you have to balance competitive integrity with the fact that people have real lives, and the fact that we're not playing for money anymore like we did in the Cow Cup. And do you really want to force forfeits when the game could just be rescheduled, or you can just tag in somebody? And I think, Time Bomb raises some good points. It could be looked at. I was hoping to have more of a question and answer, but clearly he had feelings about that, and I encouraged Time Bomb to take that up in the proper feedback channels in SCL. Gentlemen, any other closing thoughts on that match between Aluminium and Orange Squadron?
Positioning. I think we saw really Yavin threw it into sharp relief, and I think that was the decider here.
Yeah. Especially as NR, right? You definitely have to have your positioning right on point, because you just cannot scoot across the map like you can as Empire. But to your point, Doom, it sounds like the Orange Squadron bombers could have been in stronger position for that farm. But again, tough calls, and often these games, especially at the elite level, at the speed at which they happen, one or two calls that don't work out in your favor can be the difference maker. And don't we know that all too well? Orange Squadron has been a mainstay here in the Elite Division the last couple of seasons, unfortunately finishing last this season, and will be auto-demoted down to the Challenger Division. They have gone through some lineup changes, as Time Bomb just hinted at. Dalek going over to Aluminium. He had been their mainstay flex for a long time. Flying Chili, one of their backbone farmers, also going over to Aluminium. Probably a lot of that is geography based, because they're both based in the UK, and there's a lot of Aussies on the Orange Squadron. So Orange Squadron, tougher season than they would have liked, obviously. I think a lot of that is trying to gel with the new pieces and adjusting to their new lineup and whatnot. I have no doubt, however, that they will make their way back up into the Elite Division, where I think they really belong. Lando, any thoughts from you?
Yeah, just grateful we have guys like Gito and Time Bomb and Gito and Fameplane, excuse me, to to figure out how to make it better for next season. Definitely not always get such honest, raw reactions after a game, but hey, it gave us all something to think about.
Right. And I'll be remiss not to mention my teammate Deadweight, who is also added as a mid-season addition, a roster acquisition for the SCL staff. Doing a lot of work there as well, in helping out Fame and Gita run this league that we all have fun in and compete in, season in,
sorry,
season out. Yeah. Well, I'm biased. He's my teammate, but I got to give props to Deadweight.
That was Lando's fault, because I've been off doing other stuff past all season.
How dare you, Lando? How dare you?
Yeah, well, how dare I?
Well, gentlemen, I thought that was a fine match. I thank you both for joining me, and I'm going to wrap things up here, folks. So, again, to sum up, Aluminium taking away 3 points out of this match, but unfortunately, through the 2-1 loss to Savrep earlier in the night, find themselves on the outside looking in for the playoffs, and I believe that puts them in 6th place in the standings, which means they may have to do a relegation match. Yes, I think the 6th and 7th spots have to do a relegation match. The 8th place spot automatically drops down the Challenger. Aluminium, I'm sure, can defend their spots, but I'm sure that'll be a very entertaining match. Thank you for tuning in for this presentation of SCL. This is Rain signing off, and Lando and Doom. Thank you both for casting with me.
Sure.
Awesome. Thanks.